All right. Yeah, so thank you everyone for attending this seminar. We're going to go over some general information about Cascade Bicycle Club's tours, and we're going to dive into the specifics about the Winthrop Gravel tour. So, between me and RJ, hoping that we can supply you with the information you need to help you feel more informed and a little more confident in tackling the Winthrop Gravel ride. My name is Joz Johnson. I'm an event producer with Cascade Bicycle Club, and this year I'm putting on the Winthrop Gravel Tour. RJ, who's in the chat, um, has previously produced this tour, and is a wealth of knowledge about the area and this event. We do have a little poll I'm going to send to you all. Yeah, we just want to hear from you guys. If you are new to touring, if you've ever done a gravel ride before, and if you've ever done any sort of large group ride as well. So we'll give you a little bit of time to respond. So there's three questions in the poll. Have you ever done a gravel ride before? Have you done a tour before? Have you done a large group ride before? We've also got a couple questions on screen, and this is something you might want to throw into the chat. If you're planning on camping in a tent or RV, uh, or not, maybe you're looking to split a hotel with someone. Um, and also, if you're looking for potential carpool buddies, uh, and if you are, go ahead, throw that in the chat. Sometimes it happens that people can uh, connect and find that buddy. And I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. So quite a few people attending have done a gravel ride before. Cool. Um, Quite a few have also are also familiar with touring. And there's a bit of a split between doing large group rides or not. Um, Good to know. The thing about this presentation is some information you may already know, but if you have done none of these things before, I think this is going to be a pretty useful presentation. Camille asks, how many people are registered? About, I think, just over 130 now. So there is still room if you're interested in registering, but you have not yet. If you have any questions about the topic we're currently addressing, I'll try to keep an eye on the chat. Winnie and RJ might also be able to answer you there. Um, if you have questions about topics we haven't gotten to yet, hold on to those questions. We do have a good chunk of information to get through, and I'm going to try to get us wrapped up within the hour. So yeah, so we'll do like an open Q&A session at the very end of this. All right, so what is a tour? There's lots of different types of tours. The ones that Cascade Bicycle Club does are um, described as such. Um, all of our tours are 3 days of supported riding. There are 200 riders or less, um, making them kind of a little more sociable and intimate, really nice. You don't feel overwhelmed or lost in the crowd or anything. Um, all of the routes are loop routes, so we start and finish in the same location, so you're not going from point A to point B and having to carry your own gear or have it carried for you. Um, each morning we do a check-in and we do a briefing of the route you're about to experience. Part of that is also for safety, especially with Winthrop. We want to know what days you'll be riding, and when you come back to the finish line, we want to make sure that you get checked back into. Every day has a long or a short option. Um, that is in reference to distance, not necessarily to the time it takes you to complete either of those. We've got rest stops with multiple rest stops with snacks, hydration, and crew support nearby. Lunch is provided on the route. We always have vegan, gluten-free, uh, and carnivore options. You can, so we all start together. There's a group start every day. We slowly release riders so we don't all go out in one big group. Um, but once you are on the road, you're riding at your own pace. So long as you can ride within the support hours, which are generally, like 8 to 3, sometimes 9 to 4, that's fine. We And these tours, of course, are they're rides, they're not races. There's a lot of really wonderful scenery, especially in Winthrop. Uh, there's everything from like rural scenery, small town riding, a lot of forests, meadows you'll be riding through. Pretty neat. Uh, there will be a little bit of paved road riding as well. It's important to know that we do not close the roads. So there is a little bit of highway shoulder riding, um, back roads, rural roads that don't get a lot of traffic, um, recreational trails, stuff like that. So just know that there will be other people in a variety of vehicles also using those roads and trails. For the gravel riding that we do, we're going to be using Forest Service roads primarily. Um, and those can have all sorts of substrate. Sometimes they're relatively nice and smooth. Sometimes they're a little rockier. Sometimes there's loose, kind of more sandy soil as well. There's also a couple of single track paths that are pretty narrow, kind of overgrown. Lots of tall grass that you feel like you're riding through. And then there's also some multi-use trails as well with other users on them. And then at the end of all that riding, we've got a finish line. We've got a souvenir. This year it's going to be a pair of Cascade Tours socks. And then we always have a couple of massage therapists who are there to just work out all that tension uh, and make sure that you are ready to ride the next day. So the Winthrop Gravel Ride this year is Friday, June 13th through Sunday, June 15th. That's Father's Day. That's Father's Day weekend for people uh, who might want to know that. We're limited to 200 riders, and that is a really strict limit due to our permits with the Forest Service. We just really can't have more riders out there than that, which means that you really do need to register in advance for this ride. We don't take walk-ups. We don't do day of registration. As soon as that registration closes online, that's it. Uh, and we're going to be experiencing a fair amount of wilderness, some backcountry roads, some steep terrain, and you might even see some wildlife out there. Lots of really amazing views and vistas. Uh, we do a fair amount of climbing on, well, every single day. Um, but the good thing is all those climbs are rewarded with really scenic views. There's some breweries and cideries that we team up with for social evenings uh, after riding. You'll definitely want to bring a lot of water with you. Plan to carry that on your bike with you. And if you're new to gravel riding, know that this is done at a pretty slow pace. For some riders, it might be half of your usual road pace. Um, I know I rode days one and days two uh, last year, and it was indeed slow going, but very scenic, worth every minute. Any questions before we go on? All right, we're going to start getting into some of the details of the route here. Um, so like I mentioned, we've got long and short options for the first 2 days. For the third day, even though one option is shorter in terms of distance, for some people it takes them just as long to complete it as they would have with the longer route, and that's due to a long descent that's relatively technical, and even if it's not necessarily physically demanding in terms of like wattage output, it's still um, kind of uh, challenging in other ways where you're just having to make a lot of decisions about how you're um, progressing through that terrain. And RJ says, it does not include the lunch stop unless you make it longer to backtrack to the lunch site. Yep, exactly. So you'd still get some of the rest stops, but lunch is up uh, at the peak of the climb that day. So let's see. Day one. Let's see. We're going to be going along Thompson Road, Nordic Trail, plus a challenging descent from Aspen Lake. Day two is a big climb up Loop Loop Pass, and then a long option with a scenic meander around a canyon or shortcut with a much more rapid descent down the highway. Uh, and day three, we're going up and over Banker Pass. The short route is still just as long, just less climb. And if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to switch over into Ride with GPS. Okay. And we're not going to go super deep into these, but I do want to kind of give you an idea of what kind of terrain we're dealing with uh, and what what kind of climbs. So this is, and we're just going to look at the long routes. If you'd like to look at the short routes, you are welcome to do that. These are all posted publicly on our webpage. We're going to be starting in Winthrop, just outside of the little downtown area. We head out on paved road, and it's a nice, steady climb. You can see from the elevation map below. And finally, around mile, I believe, let's see, almost mile five. We've got a route split. So short routers will split off from the long route. Long routes going to continue up this climb. It's definitely a lot more gravel up here. You get another rest stop after your descent in Twisp or along the Twisp River. Sorry. Uh, there's kind of a neat paved section. You're up above the Twisp River. It's just really nice scenery. After that, you're going to turn off into a little bit of farmland. And we do go through a gated section here. So there's one little farm. There's a gate we need to make sure that we've got open and closed for you when you're once everyone's passed through on that side. And through here, it's some wider road. Uh, but I believe it's right around here, somewhere around the lake, I believe, turns into single track. And you're just kind of in these like overgrown tire tracks. And there's a little bit of switching from one track to the other sometimes. Um, but it's really neat. You're pretty high up. You feel like you're at the same level as all these other peaks around you. Before you get to lunch, though, there is a bit of a tricky descent to get down there. I think I'm zooming in on the right place here. Um, and I would say that's maybe like the hardest part of uh of the route is just getting down this section. Um, this was something I opted to walk down actually. If you're a bit of a thrill seeker and you enjoy like more intense mountain biking, it's fun. I've seen people on tandem go down this, so it really just depends on your comfort level. And we do usually have an outrider or someone posted at that section to make sure that people are taking turns, they're giving each other enough room. It's definitely a place where a lot of riders stopped at the top, and we all kind of talked to each other to see who wanted to go down first, and make sure no one was uh, surprised by anything. Uh, After that, uh, you get to head down to lunch. Lunches are all local sandwiches. And then you get to head back out uh, the way you came, the way you came along the same paved route. So that's day one. Day two is a really big day. Um, I can say personally, this was probably the longest ride I've done, and it was definitely physically challenging. Um, it's also a day where each year we have completely different weather at the top of the summit. There was one day where we had just really hot weather at the top, and that's where it's really important to make sure that you definitely have a minimum of two water bottles with you. I would recommend three, and that you've got uh, when you're getting to those rest stops, you're loading up on snacks to have with you in between the rest stops. So uh, don't just stop at the rest stop, eat a bar, and take nothing else. Like we want you to take another couple pieces if that's what you're going to need to get to the next point. So the second day, we have a different start line. It's going to be at a park. On day one, we started here at the Winthrop Town Trailhead. So we quickly head through the little downtown area, and there's a bit of pavement, a good little climb out of town. We're going to head past Peregrine Lake State Park. The route doesn't necessarily take you there, but there are restrooms in the park for you to use. And then by mile 4, you're getting onto gravel, and it is just about constant climbing for about the next 20 miles. It's not super steep climbing. Um, there are a couple slightly steeper bits. Um, but there's really not a lot of coasting that you're going to get to do uh, on these sections. Once you reach Beaver Campground, which is kind of cool, it's kind of hard to tell zooming in, but Beaver Creek, uh, almost more of a river, can get pretty loud. Um, and you'll see that along like the next 10 miles. So that will be your last stop before this extended climb, uh, which is also where riders tend to spread out a lot more. There's just a lot of distance. People are climbing at their own pace. I know when I was on it, and I was in definitely like the last half of the pack, uh, I could just barely see a rider ahead of me, and I could just barely see two riders behind me. So this is where you definitely want to have your own water, your own snacks, a flat fixing kit with you as people spread out. Lunch is going to be at the very top of this climb at Loop Loop Campground. They do have um, some restrooms up there. And yeah, and then from there it's a little downhill section. For the long loopers, you're going to continue on uh, through quite a few more Forest Service roads. We've got a couple rest stops for you, kind of one in the center and one towards the end. There is a what we like to call a little hike a bike section. There was a washout, I think maybe like a year and a half ago, and so it's just a little rocky, and you're going to need to dismount your bike in order to cross that. But it's really not too long of a section. If anything, you get to slow down and smell the roses. For people who want to do the short route after Loop Loop, you come on down and you hop onto Highway 20, and it's there's really not a lot of vehicle traffic on that road. You've got a pretty wide shoulder for most of it. Occasionally, there's maybe a little um, bit of something on the shoulder you need to get around. Um, but it's pretty easy. I have to say it's the most comfortable highway ride I've ever had. But the climbing isn't done there. Um, you've still got a couple of sections. These can get a little windy, and after a long day, it uh, it can still feel a little challenging. Um, but then after that, you're back onto pavement, and you're heading back into town. We are going to go through Peregrine Lake State Park, and they do have a kind of like a double track um, path. This is one of the few areas that where e-bikes are not permitted, and that's because we're going through a state park, and those are just the regulations that they have. Um, we do have an alternate route if anyone is going to be riding an e-bike. I'm not sure if that applies to anyone here today, but yeah. So I guess on that note, e-bikes more than welcome. there's just a couple of miles where you're just going to be on a different route than what the rest of the riders will be on. Uh, and yeah, that's just due to state parks regulations. So that's day two in a nutshell. Day three, we'll also be starting from the same point where we started for day two, uh, over at this little park in town. And there's definitely a fair bit of climbing on this day as well. We're heading up to this peak up this way. It's like a 5.2% average grade. There's some steeper sections, but kind of just like day two, it's just a lot of slow and steady climbing. But you do get rewarded with some really nice views. This is really nice Forest Service road, um, very, very nicely forested. Uh, then you're going to come on down, and I'm not sure if anyone on this call has done the Winthrop Gravel tour before. Uh, our way back into town is going to be a little different from last year. We're going to come on down Goat Creek Park. We're going to stay on this side of the river. Last year, we crossed over to the other side. And then we head on down. I believe this is through Wolf Creek Road. Really nice, kind of a little more open, a little more, feels more like Pine Barrens through here uh, than than like the Douglas fir heavy uh, peaks. And that's kind of a last little hurrah of some gravel before we head onto the pavement and we turn back into town. Oh, and there are some notes in the chat if you haven't caught this yet. RJ saying the washout is all fixed now, which is great. And Louise is saying she's planning on riding an e-bike. Great, cool. All right, so that is kind of day three. And I'm not All right, tech and wayfinding. So as you just saw, we use Ride with GPS to create all of our routes. Uh, for any of our tours or any of our events, we really recommend that you download the app at home. Some people use it on their phones. Some people have little bike computers that they use instead. Um, so yeah, download that at home. You can create a free account. You don't need to pay for it. And we recommend that you download the maps to have offline, and that is because there's really limited cell phone service in this area, and you're going to want to have those maps saved locally to whatever device it is that you're using. And we really do not recommend that you wait until you're at the start line to do this. Um, Especially if you find that you no longer have any storage available on your device. It's really hard for us to tell you to please delete all of your cat photos so that you can fit these route maps onto there. So please do plan ahead. When we're on the paved roads, you'll also have what we call Dan Henrys. They're a style of navigational marking. They're a little circle with a little kind of leg that sticks out and shows you if you go straight ahead, or if you turn right, or if you turn left. So those are spray painted directly onto roads. Once you get onto the gravel roads, we're going to have stakes with little arrow signs, and this will show you right, left, or straight ahead. Sometimes you might see two arrows, and that might be showing you that there is some sort of route split that you need to be aware of. We also have some A-frames that are really just for the rest stops and lunch stops so that you don't miss those. And we will also have printed cue sheets and printed maps for you to hang on as well. We definitely recommend that you have all of these things with you. So in case something happens with your electronics, you're not uh, you're not left without, uh, you know, some sort of way to get back to the finish. Let's see, anyone else in the chat? Oh, thank you, Wendy. RJ, just make sure that you are sending those messages out to everyone and not just hosts and panelists. All right, let's see, no more questions in the chat. As far as bikes to bring along, uh, you definitely want to bring a bike that you have ridden before, that is the correct size and ideally has been fitted for you. Um, Really, it doesn't need to be a quote unquote a gravel specific bike. You can bring a gravel bike, a mountain bike, hybrids that can fit wider tires. Uh, the only thing we really don't recommend is a road bike that's really not going to serve you well, and it's just not going to be fun. So bring something that you know will work on gravel roads. On the topic of bike fit, if you have not had a bike fit done before, um, I really do recommend it. There's all sorts of places to go out and get a bike fit. Some bike shops will do it. There's some expert bike fitters who really do just that. And but if you have a physical therapist, check in with them and ask if they do bike fittings. Some of them do. And you're really going to want to do that. Those 20 miles of climbing on day two are really going to show you if your bike is really a good fit for you. And you don't want to find out about that on what should be a really fun day. So plan ahead, get that done sooner than later. As far as e-bikes, I think we talked about that before. In terms of batteries, some people like to bring two batteries with them so they can swap that out depending on where you're staying, where you're camping. You might need to make sure that you have a way to charge that second battery. Um, and I would say just from experience, I know last year we had a rider who was on an e-bike, and sometimes, electronics just fail, and she was about halfway up her way to Loop Loop campground on the second day, and just had an electronic issue and just had to turn around. So we were able to, I think, sag her back to the finish line. So just something to keep in mind. Um, some of you might be familiar with the saying, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this with you. It's a little video game reference of uh, uh, a wise man handing off a sword to an adventurer. Likewise, if you wouldn't go on an 8-hour hike with nothing on you, you shouldn't go on an 8-hour bike ride into the forests with nothing on you. So let's talk a little bit about what you want to have on your bike. You want to have yourself well padded and protected. Definitely bring your padded bike shorts. Water, multiple bottles, absolutely necessary. Um, for me, I had panniers and I had like a much larger water canister that I kept in there, and I think even like a can of my favorite soft drink. Um, Bring a bag so you can carry your spare wear. So that's your rain gear, any other layers you might want to switch in and out of. Last year, going up to Loop Loop, it was actually snowing up there. It was about 33 degrees. Snow was falling. It wasn't sticking. Um, but we had rain, we had sunshine, we had snow, we had wind, and this was in January. So it's really crucial to check the weather And also just be prepared for things you just might not be expecting. You should also have a way to carry essential repair items, some basic tools like a fix a flat kit, uh, anything to like adjust a derailleur perhaps. Bring safety lights, bring a bike bell, let people know when you're going to be passing by them at high speeds. You'll want to bring a map case to keep your map dry in case it rains, or a phone mount. And you'll want to have emergency contact information on you as well. Yes, and RJ is saying in the chat, it's January. So if you're not familiar with the phrase, uh, June can sometimes feel like January in the Pacific Northwest, especially at high elevation. Uh, so how are you going to carry all this stuff? We recommend that you have some sort of bag on your bike, whether that's a little saddle bag that you've got mounted underneath your saddle, that can fit, like the bare minimum. Uh, Lots of people go with frame bags or handlebar bags. I had a handlebar bag and a pannier with me. Handlebar bar bag is great for just like being able to grab snacks and things you want quickly accessible. The pannier was great for like carrying slightly more bulky, heavy stuff like lots of extra water. Um, so yeah, lots of options. Do what works for you. Train what you plan to ride with, what you plan to carry on your bike with you. That way you're used to the system and you can fine tune it and you're not suddenly thrown off by having to carry like an extra 5 pounds on your bike. Um, we'll say there were panniers were not super popular. Don't feel like you have to pack everything with you on this ride, but if you want to do that, you are welcome to. Just another little reference for anyone who's watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you're familiar with the scene, a guy gets onto a plane with absolutely nothing with him. No magazine, no water, nothing. It's a little bit of a humorous scene. Anyhow, but likewise, we would not recommend being the person who gets onto the proverbial plane with absolutely nothing. We want you to be prepared for conditions out there. On that note, if this is maybe your first gravel ride or your first gravel tour, and you would like to feel a little more comfortable with handling your bike on gravel, we've got 3 classes that are coming up. These are brand new. There's one on May 3rd. Last I looked, there was only one more spot. It may have sold out already. But coming up on May 17th and then June 1st, we've got more classes. They are relatively long for a class. You are actually riding on gravel for this class. It's about 3.5 hours long. It may run a little longer. It's capped at 15 riders. And like all of our classes, it is sliding scale. So whatever fits your budget, that's what you can pay. And Wendy has a link to those classes in the chat if you want to go check them out. If you're already more than comfortable on gravel, but maybe you want to be able to support yourself and be a little more independent, we are going to have SAG vehicles out there, but we're not going to be heavily patrolling every single inch of the route. Um, you might decide that you want to learn how to fix a flat, or you want to be better at fixing a flat, or you want to fix a flat in less time than you currently fix a flat. We've got those classes. Chains and derailleurs is another class I really recommend. With how much climbing you're going to be doing, you're going to want to make sure that all of your gears are available to you. And brake system maintenance is another good one to have. And you can find all of those on our website. They look like this. Let's see, we're at 7-Eleven, and I think we're going to be wrapping up here, and then we'll open up the QA in a little bit. Um, in terms of how else to prepare for this, we have a little acronym we call Ride Smart. It's just a way of remembering how to keep yourself safe while you are riding with others and while you're riding in traffic. Um, that's also on our website, and you can read that later. But yeah, you're definitely going to want to maybe go on like a couple free group rides with us or free group rides with other clubs in your area, and get a feel for what it's like riding with a group. It is very different from riding solo. Uh, there's just a lot more communication going on. Uh, Definitely get out if you're not training yet. Do try to find uh, various different routes. Don't just ride on pavement. We're going to be experiencing some chip seal roads, loose gravel. Uh, there could be rain. Um, you know, I'm actually failing to remember if we have many railroad crossings on this ride. RJ might chime in. And then get lots of steep climbs and descents uh, into your training schedule. Make sure that you do a tune-up at home before you go. You may have heard of the acronym an ABC quick check, which is checking air in your tires. That's the A. B is your brakes, so making sure you can stop. C is several things, including your chains, your cassettes, etc. Essentially, your drive chain. And quick is any quick releases that they're all set and ready to go. Um, if you're feeling like this is a lot to know, again, we do have SAG vehicles out there. We've got a start line mechanic. There is a shop in town. If you have a mechanical issue that arises that we can't solve on the fly, we can get you back into town. And if there's still time, get you back on the road or at least make sure that you can ride the next day. Uh, so yeah, it's good to know how to fix these things, but the crew is there to support you. And one more thing to know, if you are riding something that is slightly quote unquote non-standard, like Brompton or a Bike Friday or something with like essentially wheel sizes that are not standard, you'll definitely want to bring some spare tubes with you. You might want to bring tires. It's probably not necessary. Um, and if you feel the need to, you might bring your own spokes, derailleur hangers. There's a bunch of different types of models of those, and the bike shop might not have every single uh, model that's available out there. All right, Winthrop, getting there and staying there. Pre-plan your route to get out there. Can be a little bit of a long drive. There's a couple of highways that will get you out there. Book your accommodations early. You can check those out on our webpage. Abbey Creek Inn is a partner that we work with. There's also all sorts of bed and breakfasts, resorts. There's campgrounds. There's a KOA nearby, and there's another campground. I know they've got a couple of large groups staying there this year, but they might still have room for individuals, and that is Pine Near Campground. They were our start line last year. Um, yeah, and think ahead for meals besides lunch en route. Um, we do provide vegetarian and vegan and gluten-free meals. But if there's something outside of that, you might want to bring your favorite snack with you uh, to have. Winthrop is a small town. It's a very small town, so you are going to want to plan your breakfast in advance. I think there's only a couple of cafes that might be open before the start line, and it's a big rush. So um, I would say make sure that you've got your breakfast ready, planned the evening before. And we are also going to have some social hours on, let's see, on Friday and Saturday. We don't do one on Sunday because most people head back home by that point. Um, and even for dinner, again, Winthrop's a small town. Uh, there will be some food available at the social venues. Um, but again, we're a large crowd, so some people decide to go out, grab some dinner, and then just get drinks at the social hours. So just be aware. And it's the same information. If you are camping, definitely be ready for wet and cold and dry and hot weather. It definitely drizzled a bit, I think, early in the morning. Um, and I think it even dropped down to like the low 40s, maybe high 30s one night. Again, this is in January, but it does get cold. So you're going to want to make sure if you're sleeping in a sleeping bag, it is rated for colder weather. And definitely take some time right now to go pull your tent out of its bag, set it up, see if it needs any type of waterproofing uh, or any mending you might need to do, replacement parts. You don't want to be caught off guard with a tent that is leaking or anything like that when you really just want to be focusing on being able to get enough sleep so you can have a really fun ride. So, all that said, we're a little ahead of schedule. Let's see if there are questions in the chat. Let's see. Kate is asking, can I take all three classes? The answer is yes. I guess it just depends on uh, your schedule. But yeah, oh, maybe this is a question of can you take all three of the gravel classes? In which case, like, yes, you are welcome to repeat any class as often as you would like. I've taken the chains and derailleurs class before, and I will be taking it again very soon. And it's just nice to be able to kind of iterate on things. You know, if you decide you want to do the first gravel class, and then go out on like a solo ride and try things out, and then come back and iterate and bring your questions, uh, that is absolutely allowable. You can do that. Let's see. Jason asks, do the posted routes on Ride with GPS show bike the e-bike bypass? Um, Let me see real quick. I think the short route that we have may actually be the route that has the e-bike. Let me double check this. Yeah. So if you look at the Ride with GPS events, the second day short route is actually going to have that bypass. Um, and I can definitely go in there and kind of create a hybrid like if you're interested in the long route, but you're going to be riding on an e-bike, I can kind of splice those two together so that you don't have to be switching between those two. Yep, and RJ confirmed. Cool. We're at 7:20, so we got about 10 more minutes. Does anyone have any other questions that I can answer? All right. Louise, I see you raised your hand, so I'll give you a moment to type in your question. When you say a descent is technical or difficult, what do you mean? Um, I would say for the technical descent that we have, I would mean you're probably going at slower speeds because you're coming across things like larger rocks, looser surface, yep, like RJ's saying. You might also come into like there might be like some kind of deeper ruts within that surface just because of like rain washing down. Basically, there's just going to be more small hazards that are going to keep you from just kind of gliding down that hill. And then you combine that with like twists and turns. And it's just a lot more factors for you to have to consider as you're going downhill. But again, like these are forest roads, it's not going to be anything like uh, you're really not going to be coming across like a bunch of downed logs or anything like that. Um, and Louise, does that answer your question? Okay, great. All right. If there are no more questions, for now, we're going to end this. If you do have questions that you think of later, you are more than welcome to email us at info@cascade.org. You can also give us a call, and we can get back to you, with some answers. And this meeting is also going to be, I did record this, so we're going to post this sometime in the near future, if you'd like to revisit it as well. All right, seeing no more questions, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to learn a little bit more about the Winthrop Gravel Tour. Y'all have a good evening.